I love gambling. I love it so much. I mean, sitting at like a blackjack table, you know, or at a roulette table, you know, a cigarette or a cigar, a drink, and just like a stack of chips and playing all night. I mean, I fucking love it. Absolutely. I mean, it's almost as good as like a good fuck. And sometimes when you're winning, it's better than a good fuck. Oh yeah. Yeah, I love gambling, but I'm incredibly lucky insofar as gambling is concerned. Not insofar as like winning money. No, I'm not lucky. I don't mean lucky in that sense. No, I mean lucky in a very different sense. And the sense is that, see, I don't need to gamble. I love gambling, but like right now, and I'm thinking about it, I realize that I have not gone gambling in over a decade. Oh yeah. I was living in London in 2017, right? And there are a bunch of casinos all over the place. And I actually never got around to going to one. You know, I never did. And they were everywhere, okay? I mean, point of fact, now that I think about it, there was a casino right on my way between where I lived and my studio. You know, I could have gone whenever I wanted to, and I just never thought about it. Which is kind of weird because, let's see, the first time I went to Vegas, I arrived on a Friday afternoon. I'd driven in from LA where I was living. This was like in 97 or so. I drove in the afternoon. I sat down at the blackjack table on Friday after having eaten something, like it must have been like 7, 8 p.m. And I didn't get up until Sunday morning. Yeah, it was dawn when I left that blackjack table. Oh yeah, I played 36 hours straight, only getting up to take pee breaks. And that's not the only time that I've spent all night at the casinos. Oh no. There was this one time I went with a buddy of mine. We went to Atlantic City. I was living in New York, right? We drove down to Atlantic City. And we were listening to Frank Sinatra on the drive down, right? And we get down to Atlantic City. We go straight to the bar because we're like, oh, you know, we're listening to Frank Sinatra. We gotta drink a martini, you know, like a celebration we got here, right? And of course, martini, you know, if, on an empty stomach, what the hell you think happened? We got drunk. We got drunk right away, okay? And then we went into the casino. Oh yeah, it was memorable. Okay, I went into the casino drunk as a skunk, okay? But like trying to pretend that I wasn't drunk, right? I walk into the casino, I go to the blackjack table because blackjack is my thing, right? And I start playing. And I'm clearly drunk. The dealer knows it, the other players know it. And I keep on drinking while I'm sitting at the table. And I keep winning. Yeah, it was just so fucking bizarre. You know, I kept on winning and winning and winning. And then I started losing. And so I decided, oh, you know, I was in my drunken stupor. Oh, you know, fuck this shit. I'm gonna go to the roulette table. You know, I'll try my luck at the roulette table. Smirk. I'll try my luck at the roulette table, you know, and I'll do like so much better and I'll recover and blah, blah, blah. So I go to the roulette table, right? And I start making these outlandish and stupid bets and I keep on winning. Me and my buddy, we played, I think it was like 2 nights. I mean, we must have slept. We got comped to Sweden and everything. It was great. And, you know, we played for 2 straight nights and I walked away with $29,000. Yeah, that was that weekend. That was a pretty good fucking weekend. Oh, yeah. But of course, like a fucking idiot. See, me and my buddy were like, oh man, it was so easy. You know, we won all this money because he had won too, right? And so we're like, let's come back the next weekend. We'll come with a bunch of guys, right? And we went back with a bunch of guys and fucking lost it all. I lost $5,000 in the first half hour. Okay, and then after that, you know, I started like zipping my debit card to get more cash. I mean, the weekend was a fucking disaster, you know. And in the end, I think I blew like in that second weekend, I blew like $12,000. And then we went like a couple of more times to Atlantic City after that, which should have been a fucking lesson, but no, we went back for more and we lost. And in the end, you know, that $29,000 that I'd won that first drunken weekend, gave it all up. Oh yeah, all gone. All the fuck gone. Yeah, and of course, after that happened, after I realized that all the money I'd won was gone, I'm like, fuck this shit, and I didn't go again. I lived in New York City for at least another year, just did not go to Atlantic City. And I kept getting these calls and emails from the casino I'd stayed. It was, I forget which one. I honestly have forgotten which one it was, but it was one where the VIP guy was calling me all the time, and he was saying, you know, we'll comp you the trip down and the whole thing and comp your stay. Yeah, because, you know, he saw a sucker and he knew what to do with a sucker like me, right? And so he kept like insisting, and I was like, no, and just didn't go because, you know, I didn't need it. And this is the interesting thing about gambling. See, it seems to me that there are two components to people who gamble. There's the obsessive part and the compulsive part. Now, the obsessive part is that, you know, basically that you need to stay there and keep on doing it because you enjoy it, the activity of it. You know, you get a little obsessed about it, and you grind on it. And I'm an obsessive in that regard. I like to grind on things and overthink them and analyze them and scrutinize them, and I go and go and go and go, right? But then there's the compulsivity part where you need to go. And see, that part, it's a part I lack. I don't need to go. I am not addicted to anything, okay? I'm not addicted to drugs, I'm not addicted to booze, and I'm not addicted to gambling. I love gambling. But when I'm not gambling, I don't think about it at all. And the point of this video, you got to figure out who you are in regards to gambling. It's very important. See, because there are lots of guys and lots of stories of guys who've lost it all at the craps table, you know, the blackjack, roulette, whatever. Baccarat is a big game in Europe, right? People have lost it all. Enormous fortunes have been lost at the gambling tables. And something that you got to learn about yourself really early on is if you can take it or leave it. And more to the point, you have to understand why you, for whatever reason, need to gamble or don't need to gamble. What is it about you that, you know, latches on to gambling or does not care about gambling? Because it reveals something very important about you. See, everything in life teaches us about ourselves. And you should be paying attention to the great temptations in your life. Gambling, sex, alcohol, drugs. Pay attention to these temptations and see where the hooks, the claws of these temptations latch onto you and where those claws are ineffective. Because that's how you learn about yourself. And getting that knowledge about yourself will help you in other aspects of your life. Because like in my case, gambling taught me a lot about who I am. I don't need to gamble, but when I'm doing it, I focus all of my attention on it. And I do it over and over and over again. Now, this is a tremendously powerful quality insofar as a lot of activities, especially work activities. I'm not somebody who's going to leave things half-assed. I'm going to go to the bitter end and do it in as much detail as necessary, with as much precision and care for every little detail that I need for that particular activity. And I've seen that in myself insofar as, like, for instance, my writing is concerned. You know, I'll look over and nurse a paragraph or a chapter and go over it and fix it and this and that and the other, even though it's done technically, but I'll want to improve it. I'll want to improve all the little details so it's just so it's just right. Now that is a very, very good quality. But on the other hand, that obsessiveness, right, can sometimes be very annoying because I start to drill down into things that I shouldn't be drilling down and trying to, you know, needle and needle. And when I was younger, this was a bigger problem than it is now. Because when I was younger, I was just an annoying little shit that would just keep on poking and poking and poking and poking until, you know, whatever it was that I was poking would finally blow up and blow up all over me, right? So that obsessiveness is not a good thing. And the lack of compulsiveness, the lack of sometimes stick-with-itness has allowed me to walk away from bad situations, walk away from, you know, prevented me from falling into the sunk cost fallacy. But it has also cost me a lot of times relationships when I decided, you know, fuck it, it's not worth my time to work on this relationship with this person, be it a friend or a lover, and just to walk away. That's a sad thing because a lot of relationships I've had, I've left behind because of this lack of compulsivity. I don't know what you call the lack of compulsivity, the opposite of being compulsive. But I have it. I have it in spades. It allows me to walk away from messy situations and allows me to walk away from situations and from people that I shouldn't have. You see what gambling has taught me? Now, as a 51-year-old man, what do I think about gambling? Well, I think gambling is stupid. I think that you should never bet more than trivial amounts. I'm talking like $1, $5 on the outside. I'm talking like real bets, right? You should never get into betting or gambling, okay? I mean, when people play poker for pennies, that's fine, because it's fun to play poker, and it's fun to quote unquote lose a whole 25 cents, yeah? You know, it's fun, and it doesn't mean anything. It's not gonna hurt anybody. You should never gamble to the point where it can hurt you. And if you are ever in a situation where you realize that the loss could potentially hurt you, at that very moment, stop. Get up and walk away. Because why risk it? What's the point? What is to be won? What is to be earned? You know? Yeah, you might win, but you will likely lose. Because the casinos, you know, the gambling parlors or what have you, they are built to make you lose. That's the whole point. That's the whole business. You look at the incredible decor of these casinos. Who do you think paid for that lovely decor and those nice uniforms and those lovely free drinks that the pretty cocktail waitresses bring you? Who paid for it? Losers. Losers like you and me both. That's who paid for all of that crap. Be smart. Be smart. Stay away from gambling. There's nothing to be won. You think that you can win money. No, you're not going to win money. If you get incredibly lucky, you know, like I did that time that I was telling you, yeah, you'll win. But of course, what happens is that you think that you're smarter than the casino, and you go back and then you lose, and that's what they want. They want you to keep on playing, because the longer you play, the more likely they are to win your money. And do you want that? And then let me tell you a final story about gambling. See, that first time I went to Vegas, right? I'm sitting at the blackjack table, right? We were playing $5 a hand, right? It was Sunday morning. It was dawn, right? And, you know, I knew it was dawn because, you know, I had my watch on. But, you know, around me in the casino, you know, no windows or anything like that, right? And I'm looking at my watch. It's like 4:35 in the morning. And I'm playing 2-3 hands. And there's this couple. They're playing one hand between the two of them, right? And they're consulting and stuff. And the dealer, he's just letting them because, you know, it's a man and a woman together. And I get to talking to them. You know, there's nobody else around, right? And I get to talking to them, and it turns out that they're playing these $5 hands, you know, $5 minimum bet. And see, they work at McDonald's, both of them. And they say that they're going to be late for their shift that starts in just a little bit. But you know that they're up. And you know, they got a hot hand, they say. These were two McDonald's workers, okay? And at the time, you know, each of those $5, well, at the time, the minimum wage was about $5. Or I remember the hourly wage was $5 and change. That's what they were playing. Every hand. It was an hour of their work, an hour of their lives that they were risking. An hour of their lives, an hour of their labor that they were losing. Because of course they lost. They were on a hot streak, and then they started losing, and then they had to go. And they walked away with nothing. All their chips were gone. The dealer had taken them all with a smile. And they'd had a free drink and what have you. They'd had an exciting time playing, but they were going to go to the McDonald's and spend the next 10, 12 hours working. And then they were going to come back. I remember at the time I was sort of like, holy shit. But, you know, at the time, you know, I didn't really react to it. It's one of those stories and one of those incidents that, you know, only takes on more importance, you know, as time goes by. And as the years go by, I mean, shit, this happened to me in 97, I think. So that's 22 years ago. I mean, I think about that couple. I can see them really goddamn clearly. You know, nice people. They were like Latinos. But they weren't immigrants. They were like second generation or something like that. And they lived in Vegas, obviously. and they worked at the McDonald's together, and they gambled. And what the fuck were they doing? You see? I mean, that's a fucking horror story, if you ask me. Their lives ruled by gambling? Does that scare you? I hope it does. Because it sure as the fuck scares me.